Hello, hello, hello. This is OWDQ, and I am playing my Necro. You might notice that my Necro has a different name. It's the same Necro. I just changed his name, stuff like that. It's something I'm willing to do just because I feel like it. I'm not trying to hide from anybody or any kind of weird stuff like that. I'm just, I switched races from the Froglock race to Gnome. It's because I was kind of over frogs. I was like, I want to be a little bit more traditional fantasy kind of a situation. So I went gnome, and having a gnome named Jumple doesn't really work. So I picked a little bit more of a kind of a generic-y name that can work with a lot of different races and stuff. To me, that's important. I'm a actual role player from way back, sort of a traditional D&D role player from way back, and it's that type of thing is important to me. Oops, got two. I'm just gonna kind of do some general, just kind of plugging around and playing, and kind of responding, little explaining myself a little bit with some comments that I've made recently on various channels and stuff. I've been going predominantly to excuse me, I think I bumped my mic. Three main channels. I've been going to Hammock Jay's channel. We're watching his videos a lot. 12 Strings and Zelen on test server. So yeah, good content and everything. Good people. And different players. Really to a degree, pretty much all of them, for the most part, have their unique classes that they sort of, or class of player that they kind of fill. And I think I'm slightly different than all of them. Probably a little more common than they are. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm kind of talking here a little bit more, so I'm gonna not be this play content. It's not going to be anything that's going to be interesting. I'm just doing it just to kind of keep doing stuff. Let's see. Zelen's been taking down some pretty impressive. He's been doing some pretty impressive tries with what he does, and I think I've made some comments about the gear he's able to have on his pets, and this probably applies a little bit to 12 strings too. I don't know how he actually gears his pets. I think he mostly just uses mage gear, kind of like I do. But he might put other special stuff on there. I'm not sure. The extra gear, that comes flavoring gear, you can put on, to put up. It's basically the highest level attunable gear that you can give pets, giving them life tap proccing weapons and stuff instead of the mage weapons, which you can't. The mage weapons don't have any life tap procs that you can get for those, and to add just a little bit of extra healing that you can get from that. Stuff like that is great, and it's I'm sure it helps. I think Zelen mentioned that it probably only adds about around 10%-ish in that neighborhood more survivability to the pet, and because of his raid experience and just his overall kind of really good understanding of the class as a pet class and stuff, I'm sure I'll just take that. Of course, I'll take that at face value. He knows what he's talking about, so sure. And so, but I think I'm kind of speaking to sort of the regular person, right? He just wants to play. Maybe they played back in the old days, and they didn't raid. I went on one raid way back in the day. It was Velius, original Velius, and I participated in a Drakeel, the giant, the giant city raid. Excuse me. And that entire process back in the day, I had a girlfriend that I was living with, and it took 6 hours process. I was on the computer longer at one stroke, one time than I've ever been. I was on dial-up, taking up the phone line for 6 hours, and this is not uncommon for back in the day, right? We're talking, this is, Serial Velius was like 2000 maybe. Might have been '01. Somewhere, 2000, 2001. And, yeah, and that was just insane. I had a life. I got a life, man. I can't spend 6 hours straight playing a game, also taking up the phone line at the time, by the way. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's morning time and I'm kind of doing the throat thing. It's just crazy, man. I didn't understand how people could do that back then. Frankly, even the way raids are done now in Everquest and also even World of Warcraft, I don't understand how people can devote that much time and energy to something and still have some sort of a life, real life that's kind of fulfilling, right? It's all about balance, and some people, I'm sure, they can balance it out, and they do it. I don't know how they do it, and I don't have an interest in really trying to struggle to discover how to do it myself. It's not that important to me, but I recognize there are some people that do find out that they strike a balance with it. I think there are the vast majority of the people that do it, even to this day, no matter what your age is, really, it still gets out of hand for some people, for a lot of people. And, I've been married for almost 25 years to the same woman, happily married, got a couple of kids. I feel like I have a pretty balanced life. And, back when I did that first and only raid I've ever done, that was a big sign to me. I was like, okay, look, this game can be a problem. I gotta set some personal rules about it, and I've just gotta do what I can do and be happy with it and be good. It's good, right? I'm basically playing Dungeons and Dragons on a computer, online with people, relative kind of with people, and it's kind of cool. The atmosphere is cool. The game is, it's fun to play, accomplish things, and participate in this virtual economy, and crack a joke here once in a while, have a good time for an hour or two, and then leave it alone. If you have time to get back at it, maybe a second time during the day or at night, go for it. It just depends on your schedule and what kind of job you have and things like that. It's no secret that this game has been an instrumental source for kind of a problem for people. So I did not want to be one of the people that had problems with it. So yeah, that's kind of me. A game like an MMO, they need all kinds though, right? I may not understand the thought process and how people that raid and that's important to them, and even how they juggle their lives in doing it, how they think. But it doesn't mean because I don't understand how or why they do it that I can't respect them and glean valuable things from the knowledge they gain from doing such activities in the game, that stuff that benefit me in the game. That's good things to know and fun to enhance, how I have fun, right? And hopefully, and there's some people that have kind of expressed to me how, maybe I've kind of reminded them of mechanics they haven't taken advantage of for a long time. That was like, oh wow, I forgot we could do that. You know, that something I just kind of started doing. You know, that's that's valuable to them a little bit in certain circumstances too. So you know, it's all a huge kind of everybody can benefit from each other in one way or another, and because we all have something to teach each other to various degrees, we should all respect each other and stuff. So I'm not ragging on raiders. Oh, you know, they're crazy people, or you know, or anything like that, or ragging on boxers because you know they're doing something that I think I don't understand and have opinions about too. You know, there's um, now the opinion I have on boxing is might sound a little less respectful, but the state of the game nowadays, I do recognize that it's a Pandora's box that cannot be unopened, and it's just the way things are. Doesn't mean I have to like it. It doesn't mean that I have to participate with it if I can still enjoy the game without doing it, which I can. But I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna give it more validity than I think it really deserves. But I'm also not gonna disrespect people that choose to do it. It's part of the game nowadays, and it's just kind of the way it is. To each his own, kind of a thing. I think I made a comment on, I think it was Hammer Jay's, one of Hammer Jay's, or Hammock Jay's latest video. My little 2 cents on my sort of a theory, if you will, about the intention of boxing, or not boxing, but the intention of Mercs and the effect the Mercs had on boxing. It was initially sort of negative, but has since become such a norm that is actually just the way, it's turned into the way things were. It's like, personally, I think the game of Everquest is an MMO, a real MMO, and true to its original design, it's pretty much been dead since Seeds of Destruction came out and they added the Mercs. And there's a lot of people that kind of think that. It doesn't mean the game isn't enjoyable now, or can be enjoyable. It can be and is enjoyable for a great many people doing what they do with the boxing with the Mercs and stuff like that. But I don't think they really thought it all the way through and how the Mercs would make boxing a trivial thing and enhance it in such a way that you could really take down content that was really meant for more than one person. And I designated the difference between multiple accounts and how that benefits EverQuest as a business versus multiple people. And while a lot of people would say it's more money in their pocket, more accounts means more money, yada yada, that's true, that is true. But ultimately, in the long run, as a business, you not only just want some money up front, but you want good word of mouth and sort of free advertising, if you will, that comes along with that, good rep that goes along with that. And the only way you're going to get that done is if you have more people, right? Not just accounts, but more people playing, right? An account doesn't talk to people. People talk to people. People communicate with others, whether it's in the real world with their work, or people they run across at the grocery store or something, or at the hobby store, that might be more into this type of thing and stuff. They talk and they hear about stuff, and then they try it out, and you get enough. The more people you get doing that, the more subs that you're going to get from that, additional subs you're going to get from that, and the more of a long-lasting kind of effect you're going to get, versus one person that pays for like 3 accounts whether they're paying with actual money or time and effort in order to, get resources for the 2 extra accounts that they don't count as their main. They have a main account, then they have 2 silver accounts, but they still have to put effort into those. It's more time in the game. They're going to occasionally get a chrono that's still money in the company's pocket, and which is going to represent time and effort on their part also. But that's one person doing all that, and it's a lot of time and effort and money from them, many times extra money, because they, at the very least with the expansion packs, if they want the rest of their box team to be able to follow them where they want to go on their main account, they not only have to buy one, but they have to buy 2 or 3 copies of the same expansion whenever an expansion comes out. And that's it's extra money for the company, true, but it's also extra money for the subscriber to have to pay in order to play a game. In the end, this is a game. Okay, it shouldn't be a way of life. It shouldn't be a character-defining thing. Your main goals as we go through this crazy journey of real-world life should not be to down Nagafen or something, or whatever in-game accomplishment that you want to get with reach max level, maybe just even or something. If it takes you a huge amount of your real life time and energy in order to just simply say reach max level, okay, this game isn't for you, and it's detrimental to your general health. It's just the way it is. People have different strokes, different ways of enjoying time, and different focuses and ways they can balance their lives in order to live a more fulfilling life. And I'm kind of getting a little off track with all that, I suppose. But yeah, the box thing and everything. So ultimately, the more people, and since so it's really about people, not accounts. It's really about people, I think. And since they created the mercs in Seeds of Destruction, they created them to alleviate hours of looking for group because of the waning population in the game. I think that was the original intent, and they were a little short-sighted and didn't really consider how easy it would make boxing multiple accounts and tackling content, and thus it's limiting their overall subscription or not subscription necessarily, but person population, right? So you get a lot of people that are boxing that are willing to put in exorbitant amounts of money into a game. That's in general I see as sort of an unhealthy kind of way of enjoying a hobby. Necessarily, I suppose that's just a personal opinion. I probably shouldn't. Okay, I'll retract that. I don't know. It's, you could just kind of wipe it away by saying different strokes for different folks, I suppose. But this is skewed by my personal opinions, of course, and everything. And your mileage may vary, that type of thing and stuff. But yeah, I don't think they really foresaw. I think the boxing element, which has always been there, but has been very limited. Before Mercs, if you had to box, you had to use 2 different computers, and it was just that too. You were doing it all yourself, and basically, as a general rule, the boxing potential for a person, say from 1999 through until probably really all the way up to Seeds of Destruction, which came out, and I think it was 08, 07, somewhere in there. Might have been 06. Anyway, up until then was basically people that enjoyed playing characters that weren't that really soloable. They could do some things. They enabled them to solo a little better, right? If they had a druid that had a rough time dealing with mobs that summoned, right? You could box a second account that had, say, a warrior or a paladin or shadow knight or something that could tank for your druid, and or the other way around because maybe you weren't be able to do enough DPS with your main warrior, and you wanted to be able to, if you didn't want to sit looking for group for hours on end, you'd have to box some sort of healer or something, or some sort of medium kind of like a shaman or something. It could add a little DPS but also some healing too, to be able to heal you well enough to solo, right? It was for, I think it was largely used like that. Now yes, of course you had some outliers even back then that would get super crazy with it and try to add a third account on there and try to get the Holy Trinity going and tackle group content, manually trying to deal with 3 computers, at the same time, and exhibiting mad skills to be able to do that. I mean, if you're, but they were outliers, okay? 9.9 times out of 10, if you were multiboxing back in the day before mercs, it was simply for a class that was maybe your raid class, or just your main class that you enjoyed the most, that wasn't really a solo type class, pet class, or druid or something else that could really solo, to enable them to be able to tackle content while they're looking for group. And then when they get a group, you drop your other tunes, you just join the group or whatever. That was kind of the dynamic. But since the mercs came out, and they're basically robots that are kind of auto, they help out a lot, especially the merc healers. And it has enabled people to play multiple accounts, and now with the technology higher up and stuff on the same machine too, you don't even have to use 2 different machines. They can tackle things that were really meant for multiple people, not just multiple accounts, but multiple people to be able to accomplish. So because of that, also, well, the dev team has to dial things to 10. You got these mobs here in COV that are basically impossible for a lot of other classes. I mean, it's just everything's been dialed to 11, right? In order to account for the power level of people multi-boxing with mercs. And you could say, well, it's just all relative. Well, sure it is. It is all relative, but you also have to look at it through the eyes of somebody maybe a little younger, or somebody just kind of missed the boat on EverQuest in general. They've never really, and maybe they say, I'm going to check it out, man. I'm kind of a nerd, and I want to see more about the history of the MMOs and stuff. And one of the granddaddies that I didn't even know still existed was EverQuest, and they say it's still going on. I'm going to check that out and see how things were back in 1999, right? You want to see that. So you find the website, you download the game, you start playing, and it doesn't take long for you to figure out, holy crap, look at these people they're following around. How are they doing this? Then you just get, they're boxing. This is like one person with this trail of other tunes. This is just one person playing. Is this how they did this back in 1999? What's fun in that? They just, all the wrong impressions, and also through the eyes of really any reasonable person. A lot of people, especially if they've only had their first experience with World of Warcraft, is if you're playing multiple accounts at the same time, it's really kind of seen as cheating. It is seen as cheating. So what's their impressions of EverQuest then? Well, number one, almost everybody in the game now is playing more than one character, and they're basically just a bunch of cheaters playing an MMO. And they probably see that's pretty sad, and they're also probably under a wrong impression of how things really operated back in the day when it was truly an experience to behold. Now, you're never going to capture that again. I'm not suggesting that you can travel back in time and get that magic that EverQuest had. It's just lost forever, but it should be still close enough for somebody to be able to kind of get the gist of, or get something fairly close to how that was, right? And in my opinion, TLPs completely missed the mark on that. And frankly, I don't think they ever really meant for it to. I think it was a bait and switch thing where I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble with this or not. Who cares? I don't know. Whatever the devs want to do, they can do. But they could suck players in from that have abandoned their game for long ago into a TLP situation with the Rage Fire lockjaw kind of snafu that I even fell for, and claim that it's returned to the way it was. And it's just basically a big chrono farming mess of people, tryhards that are just going to town making huge chrono, and through that whole real money transfer kind of mechanic that can happen with this game also, which is another poisonous kind of thing that happens. It's just kind of, it was kind of false advertising. They advertised it as being returned to the way it was in '99, and you get on there, and they can claim, well, we can't control what the players do. You know it perfectly well. You're not new to the party here. You know exactly how your player base plays and how the people think. It was a complete bait and switch in order to generate an influx of chrono and real money transfer kind of flow that the game really relies on. It's absolutely that, and that benefits the Daybreak company. It's not just a player-only thing, Daybreak, every chrono that goes through the system it's impossible that you can't counterfeit them. It represents actual money that has gone into Daybreak's pocket. And the more of those that are floating around and being traded and generated, is more money that Daybreak makes. Not that they shouldn't want to make money, but when you're making money under false pretenses and basically false advertising, then that becomes a problem with my sense of ethics, if you will. So, yeah, that was just not cool. If you want to get an experience, and this is something that's not really common knowledge amongst people that have kind of moved on with their lives, they have jobs and careers, and they have families, and maybe they're approaching retirement age now, and they haven't thought of Everquest for decades, or maybe they're just kind of in that middle spot where their career is in a really good solid spot, and they really have time now to kind of delve into hobbies a little bit more that they wish they had more time for when they were really concentrating on their careers. So, they're like in their mid to late 30s kind of situation, and so then they, maybe they have nerdy tendencies, they're kind of geeky and stuff, and they want to check out this EverQuest game that they played when they were in high school or college, and try to get back into that because they have a lot of nostalgic feelings for and stuff. It's just kind of takes advantage of people like that. And the best option for those type of people, if they want to return to that kind of environment, is really P99. But they're not gonna know about it. They might stumble upon it and find it, and then they're going to try to install it, and then ultimately, Project 1999. The reason it keeps me away from it is simply the lack of accountability. Okay, it is all kind of like buying a used car, right? As is kind of a situation. And if something happens, because somebody is able to hack your account, and you have used the same password that is your password for everything, which you should never do, by the way. Use a different password for everything that you use. Okay. Use two-factor authentication. Use a password manager. That type. It's just a brief comment I have about that, but there's no way to hold Project 1999 accountable for anything that might happen that's negative, right? Whether it be malware or virus that you might happen to get into, finds its way onto your system because of their servers. Their servers, there's a lot of servers getting hacked nowadays, a lot of data breaches and all kinds of things. And unless your stuff is really set tight and you make sure you're paying attention to all of the security flaws and holes that are like Microsoft Exchange servers have issues big time every day. They're just it's crazy, the data breaches that are happening because of that. You just there's no way to hold not just Project 1999, but it's really hard to hold almost any company accountable for that type of thing when negligence is obvious. It's just obvious and incredibly hard, not just to prove, but even if you can prove it, the FCC can't. I mean, there's just, the laws are just they're not up to date. So I'm simply not willing to take the chance and get into that environment. It's too, Project 1999, while I applaud their efforts and things like that, if you're a reasonable adult, you have a future to think about, you have retirement to think about, you have kids, welfare of others that you're responsible for, or you have to take into account everything you do. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. It's just too volatile. Too many volatile things could possibly happen. Whereas with EverQuest Live, it's live, and there are some things that could go on with this and stuff. Sorry, that was my phones, idiots. Things can happen, but ultimately you still have a shot at getting some sort of justice, because you're paying them money to play their game, and you can hold them accountable, or try to at least, for some things. It's like for the Sony breach that happened a long time ago. They had to kind of hold up to it. There was a class action lawsuit, and you get like free credit protection, and I think there was a little bit of money shoveled out. I think we got a little bit. It wasn't nothing to hold right, but it was a big sting to Sony because they it was connected with their PlayStation stuff, but it also leaked over into Everquest. It's back before they had to become Daybreak. It was, there has to be some sort of way to hold somebody accountable. If I'm going to play something I have to pay monthly on. Anyway, so I kind of drifted there a little bit. Sorry. So anyway, it's just kind of my thoughts there on some things that have kind of swirling around on the YouTube's comments and things. Just kind of trying to give everybody a sense of where I'm coming from a little bit, it's just a fun game. I like playing it, and how I play it. Maybe some of the things I do. If other people like to play it or would like to play the game like I do, maybe they can glean some stuff from what I do. If they don't, if you're a hardcore raider and you want to participate in that type of stuff with the game, rock on, go for it. I'll watch your stuff, or I'll hear about your stuff in game and chat and stuff, and I could learn some things that could help me. And there's that whole server, economy thing that goes on that, people like me are still needed. They're needed. Why? Because we're consumers, okay? Right? All the trade skill stuff that's up in the bazaar, and the occasional kind of chase loot that you might find in the bazaar, other stuff like that. Somebody's got to buy it, and other raiders don't need it. There's people like me that buy that type of stuff. You need me. You want my plat? You want, a chrono or something? I'm the guy that's going to be giving it to you, because I got, like I'm no stranger to chrono, like buying legitimate chrono once in a while for a little bump. It's like $20 once in a great while. I'll buy a chrono once in a while if I need a little boost. But, you know, it's not that big a deal. It's a couple runs to McDonald's, whatever. So, you know, people like me are needed, as well as the raiders are needed, as well as the trade skillers, as well as even the boxers and even AFK boxers. As much as I hate them, it's all a part of the sort of server economic scene that benefits Daybreak, or whatever they call themselves now, Darkpaw, whatever the hell, and the player base and people that are in this booyah base of just stuff. It's all interacting, right? So that's the reality of it, and I'm not trying to really rag on one type of player or person in particular. It's just my views on certain things. And people that try hards, man, more like Zelen, are just trying to just kind of rock hard as they can to accomplish certain things. You know, that's their thing, man. Go for it. It's not my thing. I don't understand how they can live a balanced life in doing it, but that's their thing, and maybe they can live a balanced life, and I don't know them. I don't know anybody. I don't know Hammock J. I don't know 12 Strings. I don't know Zelen. I don't know them from Adam. They're voices on YouTube. They are pixels on a screen, you know. I don't know, and that's fine. That's also another beauty about this type of thing. You can interact and talk with people as long as you show them respect. You get perspectives from peoples of all walks of life and locations, and you're exposed to ideas and ways of thinking that maybe you're not normally able to be exposed to, and that can be a positive thing. Sometimes it's a negative thing, but it can be a positive thing. And if you're an adult, you can determine what's positive, what's negative for you. Figure it out. You know, you're a grown up. Be a grown up, right? All right. Well, I think that's about it for this video. I've got to get on some other things. Speaking of real life, and sorry, it might be pretty boring for some people, but I value and appreciate all the YouTube content creators that are related to this game. I really do. The P99 people too. Yeah, it's kind of fun watching the stuff that they create, whether it's on Twitch or YouTube. You know, the EMU server stuff that Hammock J does, I'm not really into, but I could see how some people might like that too. You know, I mean, a lot of people are doing stuff and they work in various ways with this that, you know, it's all a thing, man. It's all a thing. And I probably attribute the way I think like this largely to my musical development. And early on, it was stressed to me, and I really discovered the reality of it. No matter who you learn from musically, whether it's your voice, or if you have you're a guitar player, drummer, trumpet player, or whoever you can find to learn from a teacher, no matter what level they're at, there's usually at least one thing you can glean from, one thing you can learn, and you should value what they have to offer. And that can apply to not just music, but also other professional situations and game situations, right? Everybody has something to teach, everybody has something to learn or to offer, and don't be so full of yourself to think you can't learn from other people, no matter what it is, because you can and you should, and you should respect them for what they can offer. So, all right, I'm done there. Soapbox is coming down. This is probably a very boring video for some. Rock on, have a good time, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.